ultimate fishing authority in the Northeast, the Fisherman magazine.
No guessing, just catching. New Explore Series fish finders keep you locked on fish with unbeatable clarity, best-in-class imaging options, and a stunning ultra-bright HD screen. There's more to explore, only with Humminbird.
Black sea bass reopened here at the Jersey Shore as of Wednesday, October 1st. You have the 10 per angler bag limit, the size limit of 12.5 inches. That's through October 31st. Then come November 1st and through the end of the year, it is a 15 fish bag limit with that same 12.5 inch size limit. And of course, we could all use a few more options right now since Fluke closed. And as we await the migratory run of striped bass from the east. I'm Jim Hutchinson with the New Jersey, Delaware Bay edition of the Fisherman magazine. It's Thursday, October 2nd. And this week, we're going to go back into the past just a little bit to see if we might be able to predict a little bit of the future here at the Jersey Shore. I've got an editorial out next week in the weekly digital edition that delves into a little bit more detail on this. But for now, for this weekend, let's go back in time just a little bit. And I've done this before, all right? We're gonna go back to Thursday, October 3rd, 2022. That's when I did our weekly video fishing forecast from fish heads in Ship Bottom. We were just coming off a week or two of nasty passing storms, much like we've had. A lot of northeast, and as we were heading into Saturday, October 5th, and the weather forecast had winds laying down and switching over to the west. Now, at the time, I threw it out there as saying perhaps good things could come from the offshore winds on Saturday. Lo and behold, the opening salvo into the fall run of 2022 got underway with bunker nosing up against the wind. That's what they do, the offshore wind from the west, the bunker come in close, and jumbo striped bass were all over them somewhere along the beaches of Ocean County. Now, when I look at this week's weather, the passing of Humberto and Imelda offshore, the big ocean heave, the gnarly northeast winds that we've had for the most part for the last 2 weeks, given the fact that we're at roughly the same time of year, and I'm looking ahead at Saturday's offshore wind forecast, Friday into Saturday, I have to wonder what's going to happen on the other side of this blow. The potential is there, so let's leave it at that. Basic timeline, in my perspective, we get an early rush of striped bass in early October. Big fish, they come in hard, they pop up somewhere central North Jersey, and then from that point on, it's a few weeks where the night shift guys, the guys who are working cover of darkness, they're the ones that enjoy the bite after that. After that first initial onslaught, primarily in Monmouth County, Ocean County, but by the middle of the month, hopefully Halloween action is full bore. We'll have to see how the striper run pans out as we go south of Barnegat Inlet this season, because that has been almost like a hidden barrier in the last couple of years, but I've got my fingers crossed. And there's plenty of bait right now in the back bays, from what I'm hearing and from what I've seen. I sneaked out on my boat at dusk the other night. The sod banks were alive with mullet, peanut bunker, rainfish. Stripers were just starting to get active at sundown, but I still had water temperatures on my fish finder of about 74 degrees, which is still a little bit on the warm side. I figure another 5 to 6 degrees, and that should really get the bait moving, should get the stripers hungry as well. Did get a cool piece of video from Adam Aguiar. He's been getting on fish at night in the back somewhere in Ocean County. He says it's pretty darn good. But by day, he sent me this video of some rainfish, mullet, and spearing dumping through Manasquan Inlet. We'd probably see the same thing around Barnegat, Absecon, Grade Egg, all the way down into Cape May County as well. Probably the very same thing as this young of the year bait starts to find its way out of our estuaries. Let's stick with those back bays for a moment, given that we really haven't had much of an ocean report this week because of those sea conditions that we talked about. Not exactly stellar for the opening day of black sea bass, although it does improve for this weekend from the looks of things, Saturday and Sunday. But I don't know how critters like sheepshead or black drum really migrate. I don't know much about them. But there is a lot to be said, I think, when the ocean waters are tumultuous and we got a lot of northeast, it just seems like some species are going to hunker down through the storm. So earlier this week, I heard from Frankie at Gabriel Tackle. This is the northern stretches of Barnegat Bay here in my neighborhood. A nice surprise, somebody was fishing for blackfish on Monday morning, Giuliano Francisco. He landed a 27-inch, 11.25-pound black drum on crab, which is pretty cool. We don't really have much of a drum fishery throughout most of the Barnegat Bay, some of it in the spring, but you all of a sudden see these smaller puppy drum moving through this time of year. Another interesting drum catch comes from deeper down into South Jersey, somewhere off of Cape May County, before the heave. This is our title image of the week. Tim Rudy and his dad simultaneously hooked into a pair of nice red drum while togging off the southern coast of New Jersey in about 45 feet of water. Released a 33-incher that was over slot, but did have that keeper slot, 26.5-incher, he said. I think that was the size, but he said it was in the slot. So he added that to the bag. Redfish, blackfish, and gray triggerfish. So yeah, those exotics are still around. And like I said, if you're gonna hunker down after the storm, maybe in the coming days, the fish start really moving as we get into that offshore wind for this weekend. Be a good time for prospecting along the open beaches for false albacore. As that bait starts dumping out, I can see Sandy Hook and all along the northern beaches being pretty good with false albacore. I don't know much about the reports. We're not getting them in Atlantic or Cape May County, but I know those fish are out on the lumps. You might try, if your boat's still in the water, the lumps of sea isle. Look for those false albacore, maybe some bonita as well. That variety is still in place, though, from north to south. The one fish limit on blackfish, you have those in the back bay. You've got sheepshead reported from Raritan Bay down to the Delaware Bay and many bays in between. Ken and Val Seafill in the lower stretches of Barnegat Bay, outside of Barnegat Inlet. They've been getting on the sheeps together. I think these are separate days too. Outside of Barnegat Inlet, using a 3/4 ounce cream color bottom sweeper jig with green crab. So that's pretty cool. Down in the state of Delaware, and yes, we're getting those reports at a Higbee's, for example, that there's that little bit of variety out there on the Delaware Bay and around the lighthouses in particular. But in Delaware, they have citation awards for impressive catches. Steve Day earned a Delaware citation for a sheepshead over 8 pounds. This one caught over the weekend on the Delaware Bay. It went 10.7 pounds. So those are some good options. Inshore, back bay, for folks not getting out onto the sea bass grounds or not able to get out because of the weather or because of their boat. If you've got a smaller boat, it's a good time of year. Set out a chum pot in the back bays. Look for some of those puppy drum. Look for some of the blowfish around. Yes, we've got weak fish, we've got the sheepshead, and we've got triggers around the inlets and rock walls. And we'll have to see again this weekend what the surf is going to produce after we get back there after this heave. Now, I mentioned weak fish. According to the folks at the Tackle Box in Hazlitt, Eric Will here has been on the weak fish on a regular basis of late. Good to see some of those tide runners in the mix, some of those bigger weak fish. Hope to also see some speckled trout being caught down in Cape May County at some point as we enter into the fall. I think 2022 was probably about the last time. I mentioned the stripers coming in, but I think that was one of the last years we really had a solid run of speckled trout down in Cape May County, predominantly in November, but it starts in October as well. And of course, as I mentioned before, fluke season at the Jersey Shore has closed since the last time we spoke. I do have a couple of events to tell you about coming up in the days ahead, but first, let's check in with the final installment of the Super Fluker Winner's Circle with Jenni Ackerman as Open Boat puts you on the doormat, or doormats, if you will.
We got a drum roll for the Winner's Circle Part 4. Hey guys, welcome to this week's Open Boat. I'm your host, Jenni Ackerman, and you already know what we're talking about today. It is mid-October, but we are still reveling in how good the 2025 fluke season was by sharing the Super Flukers Challenge Winner's Circle of the biggest fluke submissions. So let's get into it. I'm so excited to see what size fluke you guys caught, and just revel in big fish, doormats, wiping our feet on doormats. So let's get into it. Starting off with Dennis Lott. He sent me this nice one here, and he says that this fish was caught on the Ocean City Reef, and it weighed 5.25 pounds and was 24.5 inches long. So that's Dennis's first one, but wait, there's more. Dennis sent us in more flukes. Here we have Dennis again, who said caught these two behind Brigantine in June. One was 23 inches and the other one was 22.5. So congratulations, Dennis. All of those were excellent flukes. And take notice, we were talking about patterns of where these fish were caught. He said they were caught in the back. So, back bay fluking, don't diss it. Go give it a shot. Here we have Ken Wong with a nice fluke that he caught this past 2025 season. And then we have Tom and his father out here slaying the flukes. They have two very nice fluke here, and Tom says we got a stiff competition. So we got to look at the pictures back to back, because Tom says that it's his father and him, and one of the flukes was 25 inches and the other one was 25.5, both caught in the Manasquan River. So looking at the picture, father and son competition, who do you think caught the 25 and who do you think caught the 25.5? So it's like, who gets the bragging rights? But I think whoever gets the bragging rights is whoever, paid for gas and filleted those fluke for you. But both of those are excellent, excellent fish right there. So congratulations, Tom and Dad. Moving on, we have Tom Smith with a nice fluke here, and he says that this is his nephew. So Tom Smith sent in a photo of his nephew. He caught this fluke on a charter out of Keyport, and they caught it in Raritan Bay. And I believe he said that this was 30.5 inches, this fluke. So that's a big fluke right there. Moving on to more big fluke, we have Adam Geis with a weigh-in picture here with this fluke. I believe that's an 11-pounder. Yes, it is. And Adam says that he was fishing with our usual crew with Captain Nick and Rod on lock and load. And those guys are definitely locked in. So out of Shark River yesterday when he caught his personal best fluke, 11 pounds on the die, yes. And he even said that after weighing her and taking a few pictures, I sent her back to make more baby fluke. So thank you, Adam, for showcasing catching and releasing big fish. That's important for every single species. And, little side note, sometimes big fish don't taste as good as the little keepers, so food for thought. But congratulations, Adam. That is an awesome fish of a lifetime, and thank you so much for releasing it, because big fish equal more babies for us to catch in the future. Next up, we have Bill Nelson, all smiles with his nice fluke, and he said that he caught this biggest flounder this season was a 22-incher. Dinner for 3, caught on his boat off of Cape May, on the Cape May side of the Cape May inlet, just as the rocks start from the harbor. And he said that his wife thought he had another snag, and he goes, what a tasty snag that was, and shares a picture of his nice fluke dinner. It's making me hungry. I could go for a fluke sandwich right about now, all this talking about fluke. And then this was a really interesting submission. I was very intrigued, and I'm gonna definitely try this next year. Submissions from Darren Tremmel. So here he is holding a fluke, traditional like shield style. You hold the fluke out front of you like you're holding a shield. And he says that here are some of his 2025 fluke photos. He says he's been experimenting, and you're gonna see it here right now, with the sideways shot for all the naysayers who claim the fish looks bigger and then you're holding it out in front of the camera. LOL, he says. So you can definitely see holding the fish sideways, like you can see the length, and there's no way a naysayer could be like, oh, you're holding the fish out too far. When you can see its side profile and see the length it truly is, that's you know, that's interesting. It's a good little experiment. So, you know, if you guys are getting bothered by people in your comments with questioning how big the fluke is, maybe try this next season to kind of silence the haters, you know. Moving on, we have Ferris Cody with 2 flukes. Ferris is from Quincy, Massachusetts, but he took a trip with his family down to Wildwood, and his mother sent this in. He's 12 years old, and he was super psyched to get his first catch of the summer. So congratulations to Ferris. He had a 23 and a 21 incher. So that is absolutely awesome, and that's one way to share an awesome summer trip, you know, back to school. Now that you're back to Massachusetts, saying, hey, I caught 2 nice doormats down in Wildwood. What did you do this summer? So moving on, we have a submission from, his name is Patrick. He's submitting pictures of his father, Hans, who caught a 24-inch fluke on the mid-island of LBI on one summer Friday in August. And listen, for a Friday in the summer, that beach looks not super duper packed, which is, you know, nice to see, nice relaxing, you know, almost local summertime, you know. But he's got, I love Hans' shirt in this picture. It's just your classic fishing shirt, you know, like a good meme of let's move to another spot, and the fish are just right underneath you, just looking at you like, what are you doing? But it's a really, really nice fluke too, nice taped out, and nice color on them too. I love seeing the nice light color flukes when they're caught. So next up, we have Jim Bloomkey with a jumbo in a tote. Just look at this picture real quick and just like look at the mouth on it. It's open, like look at the sides of it, and even the tail too. You just tell from this picture this is a big fluke. And Jim says that he weighed in this fluke, it came to 11.735 pounds, caught part of a limit on a 3/8 ounce bucktail, and then he weighed it in at a shop at Moriches Bay. So that's a really nice fluke too. Big, big fluke on a light tackle setup. So congratulations, Jim, on that one. Next up, we have Robert the Mailman Mitchell with his fluke submissions. He's got 2 here, and he says he has a 30-incher and a 25-inch fluke, and in his email he goes, sweet. So that is really awesome. Congratulations, Robert the Mailman Mitchell. Keep on catching big fish every season as it comes through. And last but not least, we have Tyler Lombardo with a 26 and a 23-inch fluke caught this past summer, and that puts a ribbon on the 2025 Super Flukers Challenge. You guys did it. Congratulations to everyone who caught. Keep on bringing that positive fish catching energy into the fall and into the winter, because you know there's species to catch in the winter too, blackfish. So you can tell what I'm looking forward to coming up. But congratulations everyone. Thank you so much for even participating. I look forward to every episode dropping and then just my inbox blowing up with people sending me emails of their fish. I look forward to it. It's very exciting for me to see. And we're gonna continue on with this in the summer, and we're gonna continue on with it starting next week. We're probably gonna start another fall run striper challenge. So stay tuned. I will catch you guys on next week's Open Boat. And once again, thank you all for sharing. And just, I really appreciate it. So I'll catch you guys on next week's Open Boat.
For more than 20 years, anglers everywhere have come to know one thing, that nothing says no to fish bites.
Introducing the Yak Attack Sand Rig Surf Cart, the ultimate beach hauler for serious anglers. Glide effortlessly over soft sand with wide balloon wheels and lightweight, corrosion-resistant construction that's completely customizable with options. Whether it's rods, coolers, or tackle, haul it all with ease. Built by surf fishermen and engineered by Yak Attack.
Nice little boat show this past weekend in Lakewood, New Jersey, especially for those folks who are into buying, looking for boats, smaller boats, under 35, maybe from 20 foot up. But dealers are trying to unload this year's inventory right now to make room for some of the new round of deliveries coming for the 2026 model year. Now, if you're still in the market for a new boat, perhaps it's a catamaran style, like the wonderful designs by the folks at WorldCat, or maybe you'd like something wide open, center console, standard V hull, maybe a Robalo, or perhaps your dream boat is a Steiger. Well, this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, October 3rd, 4th, and 5th, you can test any one of these out at DNR Boats at East Dover Marina on Fisher Boulevard in Toms River. Robert Barone and the crew at DNR Boats is hosting their Ride Before You Buy demo days this weekend. Being family owned and operated for 70 years kind of means something. They're a good crew, good folks, and they'll help you figure things out. And best of all, you can give that boat a test run when you're considering a purchase of one of these boats. One more boat buying message for you this week, because it is that kind of time of year. Like I said, they're trying to clear out some inventory. But down in Annapolis, Maryland this week, beautiful town, by the way, gorgeous, right there on the Chesapeake. But you've got the Annapolis Power Boat Show. That's at the City Dock in Annapolis. It's Thursday through Sunday. And you're going to find a couple of local Jersey crew, or Jersey dealers down there at the show, including the folks from Clark's Landing, who will be, they'll have their display at Dock F2, Display Dock F2. Now, the folks at Clark's, they just got the brand new Wellcraft T38 in stock. They're going to have that on display at the Annapolis show this weekend. Before, you can also check it out back at their Manasquan River location. It's a pretty impressive looking 38-footer. I mean, just from taking a look at it. So you might want to check this out. The new Wellcraft 38 T-top. It's amazing to see some of these giant hulls coming out now. I'm still my center console guy. I like my 20-footer. But you want to check out a Battle Wagon, go look at this from the folks at Clark. Now, another good way to get a new boat, of course, is to win the Fisherman Magazine's season-long Dream Boat Fishing Challenge. That and the CKC, the Coastal Kayak Clash. These are members-only contests, and they continue all the way through the month of November.
We're down to 8 weeks left in the Fisherman Dream Boat Contest, and here are the entries for the week ending in October 1st. First up is New England subscriber Norman Bouchard of Marston Mills, Massachusetts, with the first place bluefish on the board coming in at 16.1 pounds, weighed in at Dick's Bait and Tackle. Next up is Ahmed Solomon, a Long Island subscriber from Brooklyn, New York, who takes first place in the porgy category with his porgy weighing in at 4.6 pounds, weighed in at Bernie's Bait and Tackle. The last entry comes from Long Island subscriber Vince Zorkis from Long Beach, New York, taking ninth with a 8.55 pound fluke weighed in at Bay Park Fishing Station. The leaderboard stands at Thomas Luciano with 20 points, Rashawn Williams at 16 points, Jeffrey Harrison at 12 points. We'll see you next week. Are you the best angler in the Northeast? Well, now is your chance to prove it. The Fisherman's Dream Boat Contest is back. Win this Steigercraft center console powered by Yamaha, along with these other great prizes. Fish hard and weigh in as many of these species to be top on the leaderboard. What's the catch? You must be a subscriber to the Fisherman Magazine. All it takes is one fish on the board to win a great prize, so however you fish, you have a shot. For all the details and official rules, visit thefisherman.com.
Pretty strong week in the Coastal Kayak Clash. We had 4 entries. 2 of them were weak fish, 2 of them were hardtails. The first one was a 24.5-inch weak fish entered by Mike Triptree, which was good enough for second place in the weak fish category. Next one was a 24.75-inch weak fish caught by Frank Cece. That is good enough for first place in the weak fish category. Going to the hardtails, we had a beautiful 26-incher landed by Tom Hood, which is now in third place for the hardtail category. And Bob Wagner took the top spot now with his 28-incher. The top 3 now looks like this. We have Dustin Stevens still hanging on to his lead, but shaved down to 7 points. Then we have Rothenong in second place with 6 points, and Bob Wagner swoops in to take the third place spot with 5 total points.
Hey kayakers, the Fisherman's Coastal Kayak Clash Contest is back. Win this fully outfitted Hobie Mirage Lynx kayak from Yak Attack, along with other great prizes. Catch and release as many of these species to be top on the leaderboard. To enter, you must be a subscriber to the Fisherman Magazine, fish from a kayak, and document your catch. Many chances to win great prizes, so get out there on the water now and fish hard. To be part of the action, you must be a subscriber and register at thefisherman.com.
the famed waters of Panama awaits a fishing experience like no other. Tropic Star Lodge welcomes anglers to get in on world-famous fishing action. Plan your perfect trip today. Tropic Star Lodge, the ultimate in fishing adventures for more than 60 years.
The October edition of the Fisherman magazine, New Jersey, Delaware Bay. It's in newsstands. It's in subscriber hands. That splashy striper cover gives way to some splashy striper content. October is usually the month where we focus a lot of attention on striped bass. We call it Striped Bass Month. Stripers on Umbrellas by Bucky D'Agostino. That's in there. You've got the Strip Strike for folks making the transition from fresh to salty fly crossovers. Captain Jimmy Frieda. Surfcaster Shell E. Karras opens up his bag and opens up on the history and the future of the needlefish. You've also got a trout stocking rundown with Tom Pagliaroli detailing Jersey waters stocked with rainbows in the month of October. Plus, Democrat Mikey Sherrill and Republican Jack Chattarelli both asked to answer the question, quote, why should New Jersey boaters and anglers vote for you on November 4th? And as governor of the state of New Jersey, what is your pledge to the recreational fishing community? It's a Fisherman exclusive. You won't find this anywhere else. Both candidates given 2 pages to answer that question, to explain their positions on fishing, and resources management in the Garden State. And of course, you'll also have, in addition to all these great local features in the New Jersey, Delaware Bay edition, you've also got the glossy section of the October edition of the Fisherman magazine.
The October glossy edition of the Fisherman magazine is out now. Jim Hutchinson has the latest on the regulations regarding striped bass. Spiny dogfish turning trash into treasure? This is an article by Scott Thomas. Why leave all the fish and chips to the Brits? Captain Tom Migaloski has a great read on drop and reel heavy metal sea bassin, the classic method for targeting fall humpbacks with diamond jigs and teaser tails. Matt Broderick shares his insights, Tides of October, surf tactics for the fall striper run. Smart Storage is an article by Captain John Raguzzo, efficient storage for the mobile angler. Then we have Ray Littleford's Tail End. It's a great read about the ever-changing sand beaches that come and go with the tides. To get all this and more, be a subscriber to the Fisherman magazine. When you subscribe, you get 12 glossy print issues, 26 digital issues to your inbox, this past weekend's reports, full access to the website, and more. As a subscriber, you can also be part of the Dream Boat Challenge and win a new Steigercraft powered by Yamaha. And you can compete for a rigged out kayak from Yak Attack. Subscribe now.
I was out at that striped bass public hearing in Bristol, Pennsylvania last week. We'll summarize that meeting quickly and tell you about a couple of upcoming events this week in the New Jersey, Delaware Bay region. But first, let's head west, go out to the Poconos, the west side of the Delaware River. We'll check in with our freshwater report from George Schauer, our Pocono Outdoors Guy.
Well, hey, thanks, Jim. As you can see behind me, the color's starting to come to the Pocono area. Leaves are starting to change. We're definitely going to be having the leaf peepers up in the area. One thing we are dealing with is the lack of rain. We've had several weeks, fairly dry conditions. A little bit of rain last week, but nothing to speak of that's going to make any difference in these low waters. You know, lots of the rivers, creeks, and streams running well below normal. Even small lakes like this, we're starting to see a little bit of low water in the area. One of the things we did see, Tim Kleber checked in. He was out bank fishing on these newly exposed rock-filled banks. You can see how different it is versus what the river is normally. So big difference there, guys. We also had Mike Moderak showing a similar condition up on the Lehigh River. He did manage to get a couple of really nice brown trout for his efforts, but the river is definitely running low and slow. In fact, I know a couple guides on the Lehigh River, they had to cancel their trips because of low water. So things really need some rain to get any improvement. Just a reminder, the trout are fall spawners, guys. So if you're out in those creeks and streams walking up and down, just be mindful of the spawning areas and give the trout a break. Let them spawn out, let them do their thing, and try not to disturb them too much. Also, talking about trout, places like Merrill Creek and Round Valley, lake trout should be spawning as well. So you may see those fish starting to push up into the shallower water. Just be mindful of that, and you might be able to get some lake trout a little bit easier this time of year. They're certainly plentiful. Let's see, we got stripers are continuing to do well. We had a Will Gropper and Fisherman X out on Wallen Pompack, still doing well, both the hybrids and the purebreds. So that is a good bite as well for this time of year. So just again, be mindful with this low water, guys. You know, navigation can be difficult. There could be shoals that you just don't see with the regular water levels. So just be careful as you get out on the water, guys. But from Pennsylvania, I'm George, your Pocono Outdoors Guy.
Thursday, October 2nd, Jenni Ackerman has a surf casting seminar out at Gabriel Tackle in Brick. That starts at 6:30 p.m. Should be a good one. Might try to sneak over there myself and dress in disguise. See if Jenni will reveal some of her secrets on surf casting success at the Jersey Shore. Thursday, October 2nd, 6:30. Now, the Association of Surf Angling Clubs fall tournament season is underway, of course. Next up is the 77th Annual Long Beach Island Fishing Club Tournament. That's sanctioned by the Association of Surf Angling Clubs. It's being held in Harvey Cedars, the Long Beach Island Fishing Club, this Saturday, October 4th. For details, email bforg001@gmail.com. You can also visit asaconline.org to get all the details on ASAC and the tournament season. Now, this tournament with the LBI Club, obviously, it's running at the very same time as the LBI Surf Fishing Classic, which is underway along the stretch of beach and backside as well, shorebound only, from Barnegat Light all the way down to Holgate. You can get details on that tournament by going to lbisfc.com or visit Surf City Bait and Tackle, Fisherman's headquarters, or Jingles in Beach Haven. I received a ton of messages, phone calls, text. Everybody wanted to know how the Pennsylvania public hearing on striped bass turned out last Wednesday night in Bristol, PA. So let me go through a couple of notes, some video here. It shows you we had about 70 attendees at the Silver Lake Nature Center. Another 15 members of the public logged into the webinar portion. Pennsylvania Boat and Fish and Boat Commission biologist Tyler Grabowski ran a tight meeting, and once again, Emily Franke from the Atlantic States Marine Fisheries Commission did an excellent job laying out the proposal and answering angler questions. After all the facts were laid out, Ms. Franke answered some of the public questions. There were some really good ones too. I've kept some notes so I can cover this in future editorials because there was some really informative stuff. But the majority of anglers spoke in favor of status quo. The majority of folks in that room, in fact, only one of the people in there wanted to see the 12% reduction. People appealing to their ASMFC commissioners for status quo, and after that, a lot of rounds of applause for folks who said that. Now, I want to keep you updated on this. I want you to keep this in mind, especially if you're from Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania has one of the 16 votes on the Atlantic Striped Bass Management Board, the ASMFC Striped Bass Management Board. There are 3 ASMFC commissioners from Pennsylvania who represent the community, the fishing community of Pennsylvania. These 3 appointed PA commissioners will caucus on a vote. So you have 3 commissioners getting together, and whoever gets that majority, that's the single vote that the Striped Bass Management Board will deliver, right? So Pennsylvania is going to vote with 16 others, 16 single votes, but it's going to take 3 commissioners to figure out what they're going to do. Thus, a majority is 3-1, 2-1 wins out. That's the way it goes. So, at last Wednesday's meeting, only one Pennsylvania commissioner was listening in to the public hearing online. That was Chris Kuhn, as the proxy to Dr. Tim Schaefer, who's the executive director of the Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission. Now, missing from the public hearing were governor's appointee Lauren Lustig and also legislative representative Anita Astorino-Kulik of Pittsburgh's 45th district, just outside of Pittsburgh. So online, there was only one of the commissioners. So it's troubling. I've heard fisheries managers before bemoan the fact that the public isn't engaging in the meeting process much anymore. Well, I guess that's a two-way street. In this week's digital weekly edition, New Jersey, Delaware Bay, the Fisherman magazine, a good-sized golden eagle bluefish on the cover. You folks saw this about 2 weeks ago. Yes, the blues are around. We've got them in the mix as well. Just log in to thefisherman.com for this week's edition and look for my editor's log for a final chance to chime in on the striped bass management measures being proposed by the ASMFC, because your public comment is due at the end of the week. Then at the end of October, ASMFC will take this up and decide what they are going to do with striped bass for the future. Finally this week, it's nothing fishing related, it's just a funny story. So if you want to stick with me for this. A lot of folks ask about the guitar that's on the back wall here. This is actually Martha. It's one of my favorites. She's special to me. There's other guitars I have here. But yes, I do play them from time to time. No, I'm not going to play one for you now. But I happen to be a big Tyler Childers fan. And this week, my daughter Sam, who lives in New York City, got us tickets to see Tyler perform at the Tennis Center in Forest Hills. Really cool place, great show. And fun listening to city folks singing songs by a guy from Kentucky, in part about hunting white-tailed deer and pheasants. I just found that funny. Now, what wasn't funny is just a few minutes before the show started, I'm sitting there next to my daughter, and I thought somebody spilled a beer on me. Got splashed on the arm. I turn around to look, and here's this kid behind me, projectile vomit, throwing up all over the place. 3 rows, all over. People are scattering. I'm like, oh my God. Luckily, at dinner, I grabbed some napkins because he got me on the arm, and I looked, and just as I was looking at him, his girlfriend took off this red bedazzled cowboy hat and thrust it in front of him. Now he's throwing up in the hat. There's throw up all over the place. Well, suffice to say, nobody wanted to be in that area anymore, and it was like the parting of the Red Sea, and everybody left the section, including my daughter and I. No one could sit there, all right? At some point, the ushers coming around were like, you got to clean up this throw up. Nobody wants to sit there. So it was very, very funny, but we kind of went to somebody and said, I got throw up on my arm. We can't sit there. And they gave us tickets. We moved down a section. We were right in the front row. We actually had the best seats right in front of the second stage, watching Tyler perform a few of his classics on his old Martin as well. Wouldn't you know it? Just at the end of the show, about 10 seats to my left, I looked down, and there's Puke Boy. He too got himself an upgrade for throwing up in our section, and he was wearing his girlfriend's red cowboy hat. It's pretty gross. Anyway, I know it's not fishing related, but as I told my daughter at the time, she was like, I can't believe all this happened. I said, adapt, improvise, and overcome. You gotta sometimes take lemons to make lemonade, and someone pukes on your shirt or rains on your parade. You got to smile and then turn it around in your favor. So a week of northeasterlies, unfishable weather on Wednesday's Black Sea Bass opener, brush it off. Better days are ahead, and you got to sometimes make lemonade. If that's staying in the back, taking advantage of the variety, go with that. Or you look at the bright future and the offshore winds that are forecast to greet us on Saturday morning. It could be the day. Catch them up. I'll see you next week. From Florida, actually. I'm there for a fishing summit. Hint, hint. Get ready to play while the cat's away.